G'day folks, well in beginning this solve of the Mixup 4x4x4, first thing we want to do is look for double edges and double centres that are out of place. So this double edge is sitting here in a centre position, needs to be over here or something. Here's a centre that should be in a centre position. So the way to do it is simply to turn the edge into the edge position with a 45-degree turn, and once that's there we've got that centre ready to replace that. So we bring it down with a standard edge piece series, and having done that, when we turn it 45 degrees you'll notice here's the centre that was here, that now goes into its centre position, and the edge that was here firstly was returned there. So that's actually placed both of those. So that's the main first part. So I can see heaps of edges here that are out of position. I'm looking for any centres that are also out of position, and fairly soon, often you'll get more than just one of them, but like now there's no centres, there's no complete centre bits out of position, so that's sort of half a centre there that's not done. So when that happens, what we've got to do is sort of create that, and what I like to do is get the edges like this. That's a good edge for me at the moment, and I'm going to place 4 in these positions if I can. So for example, I'll turn that one around so that's there as well. I'll then go and try and put another one perhaps here, and so I can move that down to there. And I can't just move that down there because it knocks that one out, so I want to move it down with an edge piece series like so. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I want to put another one here if I can, and there's a 4th one up the top, this one here, so I'm going to move that down into position as well like so. So that's, having put that there, just ignore that one, that's irrelevant for us at the moment. What we want to then do is move each of the 4 edges that are in the edge position but kind of twisted around 45 degrees into the centre, and we then want to turn each face. So we turn that face, that face, that face and that face. Having done that, turn the middle slice back 45 degrees. Now what we're going to find when that's done, obviously it's put these edges that were out of kilter back correctly. It's going to have messed up some other bits, but it is going to have created a couple of these centres, hopefully, at least 1, maybe 2. And so what I'll do then is I'll look for another double edge with a double centre, and I'm going to move, in fact I'm looking for a double edge that's in the centre position. Now in this case it doesn't look like we have any, so what I'm then going to do is create it, and to create it I'm looking to move this one up to there. Now obviously this is in the way at the moment, so I just want to move that off. All of this is done using just a simple 4-move commutator. You can see that as soon as I move that off I'm now able to move that freely, and I've created my edge in the centre, centre in the edge, and so that's now ready. So I can go and do the standard move, turn it 45 degrees, bring that centre down into the edge's position, just turning slowly because I need to have everything aligned properly here, and then turn it back 45 degrees, and that's dealt with that. This was actually a fairly scrambled scramble. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know what it means. But it does mean it's going to be a little while in getting it back to cube shape. So the next sort of thing I might try and do is just have a look at what I've got. I've got one of these edges here. I've got another one here that I can turn. Now because I don't have any more doubles, what I'm going to do is the same thing as before. So I'm going to put another one here, but it's just going to be a single edge. So like these doubles, so one there, one there, one there. I'm going to go and put another one in that position as well, if I can find one. So I'll see if there's one on the top. There is one on the top. So I'll turn this one here around and put it down into that position like so. So we've now got the 4 around here. I can do the same sort of thing. Turn that middle slice 45 degrees, turn each of the faces, and then return that middle slice. Now I do not claim necessarily that this is the quickest way to solve it, but I'm pretty sure it's a fairly simple way. and it's certainly the way that I solve it. And what it's done, you can see quite clearly here, it's made a nice centre and edge, so I can go and deal with that one there first of all, and you can also clearly see it's getting quite a bit more cube shaped. That's dealt with that one. What else have we got here? It doesn't look like we've got any more complete centres, but I've got a lot more movement now, which is what I really want. So at this stage I would probably look to try and match up some of these half centre parts here. So I'm talking about this as an edge, this as a centre. I'd like to match that up with another one if I could. So I first got to locate it, and for example, there's one that I'd like to match, and there's the other one. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to bring it round till it's sort of nearer to it, and so that other stuff isn't in the way. So that's now able to match there, and if I can turn it, fantastic. So I turn that, every time I turn a slice a full 90 degrees, it doesn't put out any other things that I had. So if I just turn that 45, you can see that's out. By turning it 90, it's all okay. So I've now got my centre and a double edge, which I can go ahead and deal with. And so I can just turn that centre off, rotate that double edge in order to get it ready. So now when I put that 45 degrees, and I am actually trying to turn it that way, there we go, I can now turn that centre down and replace it. It becomes a little bit tricky for me to hold it. I think if you've seen the unboxing and review, you'll know this puzzle is not the best puzzle that I've ever owned for turning. I think it's getting a little better, but not perfect. Now I want to do that again. I want to find another partner for that one there. So there's one. Simply turn that around, create myself a centre. Here we go, here's an edge in the centre position, so I'll turn it over to here this time. Turn those two middle slices and now replace them with that centre. Like so, and then turn it back. You can see it's looking much better already. What else have we got? We've got really this little centre half and this little centre half and these two, and it looks like that's it apart from that one. So I'm going to try and get these two matched together. And how are we going to do that? We are actually probably going to initially, the problem that I've got is with these in the centre, I really need to rotate them. So in fact I think that's what I will do. I'll turn that around to there. I'm going to move the middle slice, and what that's done is allow this one and that one, allow me to rotate that 90 degrees and that one 90 degrees. Now I'm going to return that middle slice. Now you might say, look what it's done, it's put all these things out, but importantly what it has done is allowed us to get the bits that were wrongly oriented, these bits here, correctly oriented. So I'm going to put back the centre edge, double now. Look for any more of them. As you might have guessed, this is not a necessarily a baking a cake step-by-step operations manual. It's general techniques for how to get this mix-up cube back to cube form, initially anyway. What else have we got? This one here with this one here, might as well go and do that. We've got that one in the centre. Now the problem that I had before is I had these two bits were wrongly oriented. I now see that they're correctly oriented so that I can bring that centre together. So that's good. I've got that centre in place. I'd like to think about getting these two together as well. So let's look, if I take that centre off of the face, then I can bring those two down. So that's now created the edge in the centre position. I want it there, and we've got this centre up here, so that's now ready to deal with. Replace that, just get a get everything aligned here before I turn. You can see it's not always that easy. I think I've got a reasonable amount of lube in here as well, which is probably not helping. There we go, that's back. Now we're left with a few situations at the end. This is one of them. So in this situation, what I want to initially do is I've obviously got to rotate those there. So the way to do that is turn it 45 degrees into a center, rotate, and then turn it back. Now, having done that, we'll have a look and see what's happened. All that's happened is I've got an extra set of edges and now my two centers. That's fine, that's easy to deal with. I know how to deal with them because I've got that and that can switch out. So I'll do that first. And then I'll be left with one edge in the center and one center on the edge position. And I know how to deal with that in the same way. And having done that, you can see that's back to cube shape. But that's of course not the only thing that could happen, so let's have a look at something else. Okay, another scenario is that we've got one of those little edges and one of those little half centers, and that's all we've got. This fortunately is also pretty easy to fix. Here's how we do it. We look for either of the pieces, place it in this sort of position here, and then we want to get the other piece so it's in that position. So we're going to replace these two. We're going to swap those two basically. Here's what we do. We turn the piece in this position, 45 degrees, and rotate that face 180 degrees. Having done that, we now move this out of the way with whatever's up here. Those two middle slices. We then rotate the face back 180 degrees, and nearly home, we now turn that back to where it was and return that 45 degrees, and that has dealt with that problem. So the moving this into position and turning it back again is designed to keep everything else as it was. So anytime you've got one little edge and one sort of half center, that's exactly what you can do. In any event, you shouldn't find anything much harder than that in terms of returning it to cube shape, and so that is now done. Now, the next stage is to treat it as a 4x4x4 cube and start solving the centers. I'm not going to take heaps of time with this because it's the same as I would do it for a standard 4x4x4. I'm going to start with my white centers first. I've got a couple there. I'm going to go and build the other lot. So I'm just looking to basically always make doubles here, and I can turn that on. We've got the white centers. The first one's always pretty easy. I would normally then do the yellow centers. So if that's white, that's going to be yellow on this cube. So I might turn these up. Got to rotate that face in order to put the whites back. So I've got those two yellows. I need to make the next yellow pair. So now that I've got the white and yellow on the side, that just requires turning these faces, bringing them together. Now, your basic move for making centers complete is to turn the new half center and push the old one out. So I don't want to do this. I don't want to turn it up like that because you can see that it displaces the whites. So what I do want to do is turn the one I want to put in up onto the face, and turn that face 180 degrees or 2 turns, and then turn the old one back. And what that does is create the new center and do that one. Pretty simple. Alright, doesn't matter which one to do next. I might do red. So we've got reds here, and I don't yet need to think about the colour scheme. So I'll make the next red pair. There's one red, the other one is over here. So I want to turn that other red so that onto this face, so that when I turn it down it matches up with this. So as an example, if I turned it up to the top and turned it down, that would not match. No good. So that means on this face I've got to have it turned into that lower position. Now where were my blue? Oh, hang on, I'm doing red. Just confused myself. Okay, I've made that. I'll turn that around, and then I can bring the other red one back, and that red face is done. Now, this is where I want to start thinking about colour scheme. Because it's a 4x4x4, there's no fixed centre, so I've got to make sure that I put the correct face here and here, correct face colour. So I look for a corner involving white and red. There's one. White, red, green, going anti-clockwise. So that tells me that if I have the white on top and the red there, that face must be the green. So let's go and put some greens there. Got a double here, so I'll turn that around, and again turning it onto the face, turning the face 2 turns and returning, and you can see that puts the reds back. Now the next one, the green piece here is up the top, and that needs to combine with that green piece first of all. So I might as well do that, turn it round and put this back, and that then allows me to have this double. You know the drill, I can push the old green out, turn the face 2 turns and bring the old green back. So we've got white, green, red. This one's going to be blue, so I've got blues there already. Now when I want to deal with this and get the last blue piece in, what I need to do is turn that blue piece so that it's going to push out the old double and land next to the one on its own. So if it was like, let's have a look. If it was like that, then I would need to have the blue piece up the top here, and I'd be pushing out that. In fact, let's do this so that it joins with that one. So having done that, I can then turn the face, bring back the blue, and that's completed the blue centre. So just another colour check: white, red, blue, white, blue, orange. I should be able to find corners that look like that. White, red, blue, and there we go, white, blue, orange. So that's the centres dealt with. Not too difficult. The next stage is to pair the edges, and I'll do this the same as a 4x4x4, but I guess with a little added, try and do an added bonus to them. So I'm going to find a couple that need to go together. So I've got the white red here, and I've got a white red here. Now what I'm thinking about is that I would like to create two edges, if I could, at the same time. So when I turn this white red to that, I'm going to take it out of that position. Obviously I've busted up centres, I'll put them back in a minute. I'm going to take it out of this position onto an upper face or a lower face, just with an edge piece series. But having done that, and when I replace it with a pair that's not done, I'm going to be turning back the centres, and that'll mean the white orange piece will go here. So what I'd like, if I can, is to place the other white orange piece in that position, and you can see that it's just there. So I'm going to bring them together, then I'm going to move just the top face to get the white orange here, and I remember that I want the white orange to go here, white orange. So I'm going to use this piece to replace this. So standard move, and what you'll see has happened is the white orange is here, the completed white red pair is there. When I go and turn the centres back, that white red pair is still there. The white orange pair has also been made. So just generally cuts down a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. Let's do another one. Just looking for any two, really, it doesn't matter, I'm just trying to find some. What about blue orange here, blue orange here? Let's see if we can't bring them together. Okay, so we've got the orange blue next to the orange blue. So noted here that's a red blue. So if I could first locate the red blue, it's going to be on this side, so I'm just going to turn it up. I'm going to be pushing, and now it's going to be a blue red. I'm going to push that out, and I want the new blue red to be on the bottom here, blue red, like that. So we'll turn that upper face back, and again it means I can turn that down into that position. And when I bring the centres back, you can see the blue red's done and the blue orange is also done. So that should be at least 4 edge pairs that we've made. Alright, let's move a little bit quicker. We've got yellow red and yellow red. I might try and match it with a white blue if I can. There it is up there. So let's bring, just noting that the blue white's here, so I want blue white down the bottom. In order to achieve that, I'm going to have to turn that down as the third piece that I involve. So bring that up, put that on, turn it down. centres back, blue, white. Okay. Got the green, white here, so we'll try and replace, let's have a look. Yep, we could use the green, orange up here. So I'm going to turn this bottom green, white like that, and I'm going to replace that bottom piece with a green, orange. Just like so. So when I go and turn that back, the green, orange is done, the green, white's done. Shouldn't have too many left now. Couple up the top, one in the middle, one down the bottom. So 4 to go. So I've got a red green here and a red green. Let's find another one. There's another one there, and that's the blue yellow. So I might as well put the blue yellow there as well. So I want the blue on the left here. So that means just bringing that down like that. Having done that, I can return the centres, and I'm pretty sure what I'll find now is the other unmade edge will be yellow, orange and green, yellow. There it is in the middle. So the scenarios you'll get when you're doing this is the only other thing that really will happen is that you'll have 3 edge pairs left and you complete them in exactly the same way as we've been doing. But this is good. If you've got 2 left, it's no cause for concern at all. You simply line up in this case the orange yellow, so that I can push out the other orange yellow. So I'm just going to do that like so. What I'm going to do is take this edge pair out onto the top face and then put it back flipped around. Very simple. So I take it out by moving it up to the top face and carrying out a standard edge piece series. That's the first one. Now instead of turning it back down like that, which wouldn't flip it at all, I want to now turn its position up to the top face and put it onto its position and then turn it down. And just for completeness, we'll do that. Now when I go and turn this back, what I'm going to find is that the centres are back, the orange yellows have combined and the green yellows have combined, and so that has done or paired all of the edges. The next stage of the solve is to place the edge pairs. So I'm going to start with the white face because I always do that. Very simple, just like you do it for a Rubik's Cube or any kind of 3x3x3 cube. Where's the last white one? There it is. I'm just going to turn that on. Okay. Myself, as I'd solve a cube next, I'd be placing 3 of these middle ones. So I'm just going to do that with the standard edge piece series. It's the green orange, the blue orange is here, so let's put that on. What else have we got? The blue red's already in, so I've got 3 of them done. I now want this 4th one vacant, and I'm going to use that to place the 2 at the back. So firstly, I'll note that the yellow blue is sitting here, and I'd like that to be there. So I'm going to turn that round into position. So that one's done. I notice the yellow orange is there, but it's flipped. So I'm just going to turn the face and flip that piece in the same way that I flipped the yellow green and the yellow orange edge when I was pairing them. So I'm going to move it down here, and then I'm going to put it back in that position by turning the position first and then moving my yellow orange onto that position and then turning that back. Whoops, just doing that. That must have been, that's it, that's the 4th move there. Apologies for that. Yellow blue now turns back and the yellow orange is correctly oriented. Now what that'll leave is, I'm guessing probably 3 scenarios. One scenario will be the edges will 3 cycle into position. We don't have that scenario here. A second scenario would be that the edges are all in position but flipped, and I reckon I'll sort that out and show you exactly what to do there. Now when we look at this, we see that we've got the yellow green that needs to go here and the green red that needs to go here. So this yellow red is actually in position but flipped. So because we've got a swap of edges, this is one of the options that could happen. That tells us that we need to turn the upper face 1 turn and then replace those 2 edges. So the first thing I'll do to replace them is turn the yellow orange back into that position using these 3. So I'll turn that. And that's replaced the yellow orange, and what it's also done is put the yellow blue down into this position. So I can then turn that piece around to receive it, move it up, turn it back, and complete the move. And you'll see the yellow orange and the yellow blue are in position. What that's done is now create some kind of 3 cycle. And again, there's a couple of options here. It looks like at this stage we've got the nicest option, which is the pieces in a 3 cycle and they'll all place correctly. So we can see the green red is going to go down there correctly. We can see the yellow green is going to go to there correctly. And it's the yellow red which is going to turn, get everything aligned, it's going to turn onto its position flipped. And that tells us that that is the last piece that we turn. So we turn the other 2 like that, turn the green red into its position, and then turn the yellow red down there, and then undo those 2 moves. And that has placed all of the edges, but of course that's not all that can happen. Let's have a look at a couple of other scenarios. Well, here's something else we could get. We've got just 2 edges remaining, each is in their position but flipped. So again, we want to flip both of them, and all we need to do is turn one of them onto a correctly oriented piece and carry out an edge piece series with the other one as the 3rd piece. So we'll turn this up to here and then this onto it and then undo those moves. Standard edge piece series. And then now we can look back and see exactly what's going on. We can see that that has got to go up to there, that has got to go to there, and this one has to come down here and it has to flip. So that's the 3rd piece involved. We now turn that onto its position, and that has pretty painlessly dealt with that reversed edge or flipped edge situation. But there's one more thing that could happen as well. Well, this is the last situation that could happen, and all the edges are placed except for one which is flipped. Fortunately, this is really easy to fix. Didn't say it was quick, but it is very easy. All you need to do is turn the bottom 2 slices 1 turn. That's actually fixed that problem, but obviously we've got to get the centers back, so all we need to do for that is turn it around and just remember that that is the green face. So I want to now replace the centers. So the way I'll do that, as you know, is to push out the old green piece with the new green piece. So I push that up, turn the face 2 turns and bring it back. That's the green face redone. Then I think, what's the next face? And because it's not always easy to remember, I just look to a corner. So I've got yellow, green, something. Find a corner that says that. Yellow, green, orange. Okay, so the next one needs to be orange. So I can now do the same thing. Use this orange to push that one out. Turn the face 2 turns and bring it back. And if that's green and that's orange, this one must be blue. So I'll now turn that blue around and push out this one. And having done that, the red face will be automatically complete. Now, when we've done that, what we'll find is that 2 of these edges are intact and the other 2 are not intact. And so this is back to the scenario where we had to flip these 2. And you'll remember that what we did is line up one of them so it can push out its same colour. So this blue-orange can't push out that blue-orange. So we need to turn that around so that, in fact, now we can just use the green-orange here to push out the other green-orange. Then go ahead and flip this edge. So remember how we did that? We took it out, like so, and we then replaced it by turning its position up, putting it onto its position. And we turn those centers back. What we'll find is that those 2 edges, or the edge pairs which weren't done, are now done. We can now go and place the edges again. So I did say it's not quick, but it is pretty simple to carry out. A little bit annoying having to replace these edges. So once again, just turning these white ones into position, finding some middle layer ones, putting 3 of them into position, And it looks like I can do this red-blue as well. Okay, again I'll use this one and have a look what's going on in the back. So I've got the red, yellow-red, which I can place. I've actually got the yellow-blue here as well. So in this scenario, instead of trying to place that one, I've got 3 left, and I'm pretty sure they're in a 3 cycle. They are. So the yellow-orange goes here, yellow-green to here, blue-orange to here. So I'm going to turn them around so I can involve all 3 of them. When we've got all 3 of these that need to flip, what we do is turn them onto the other piece. So instead of trying to place the yellow-orange to there, I'm going to turn it onto there. And you'll see what will result from that. We'll turn the yellow-red back into position, the yellow-blue back into position. Having done that, I now note that I've got the yellow-orange that needs to go to this position, and I've got the orange-blue that needs to come down here. So that tells me that that is my 3rd piece. Carry that out, and then we can be assured that they're all correctly oriented. Put those back, and all the edges are now in place, and that just leaves us with the corners. Now the final stage is to place the corners, and I should mention you can use any method you like to solve the 3 by 3, but I just always place edges first and then corners last. So I'm going to go and place the corner, the yellow, blue, orange into that position. And I'm using the corner piece series. And if you want to know more about that, the link to that video is in every video on my channel. In every video description, I should say. So that's placed the yellow, blue, orange. Just looking for any that need to roll into position perhaps, or else go across a diagonal like this one. This blue, white, orange wants to go across there. The blue colour is on the left, so that's heading that direction, so these 3 pieces will move. So we will align everything. There we go. The only little annoying thing about this puzzle, it just does sometimes catch a little bit. Okay, what else have we got? Nothing else that's going to roll. Yeah, we do. We've got the white, green, red to go here. As I say, I won't spend any time going through the corner piece series, but the description of every video does contain the link to a video on it, if you want to know more about it. Yellow, green, orange to there. It's a very symmetrical routine, as you can see. It just involves the left, up and right face each time. The yellow, blue, red, that I'm going to move across to here, place that one. Now I reckon I've got 3 corners left maybe. No, I've got 2 left. So this is one of a few scenarios that can happen. So this scenario, I've got 2 in their positions but twisted. There's a couple of things you can do. You can take them out with the corner piece series and then put them back in. My preferred method now is to use a sune and then a sune mirror to put them in. So I work out which one's got to be rotated anti-clockwise. It's this one here, and I want to put that at the front left and then move the other one to the back left position there, and then carry out sune. Theoretically, I'll go the other way. There's the sune done, and the sune mirror. And you can't see anything, but what I can feel when I'm trying to turn this is something just on the inside just blocking there. And I didn't want to get that flying apart. Okay, that having been done, we can turn that back and you can see that all the pieces are now oriented, and that's great. But that of course is not the only thing we could come across. Let's have a look at something else. Alright, well this is the final scenario we could encounter. We've got 2 corners and they're swapped positions. This of course can't happen on the 3x3x3, but it certainly can on the 4. So again, this is not probably the quickest method, but I think it's the simplest method that I know of. Pretty easy to remember. Here it goes. Just turn the bottom 2 slices 2 turns. Having done that, we're going to take this edge out and we're going to return it reversed. And I've already shown you in this solve exactly how to do that, so we're going to take it out to there and put it back in by turning its position up and placing it onto its position. So what we've done is reversed that broken edge. We're then going to turn the entire cube around to the other side and do exactly the same thing. Take it out and then go and put it back in by turning its position up, and having completed that, we'll then return the bottom two slices so that the centres are back. Now what that's actually done, the problem with the two swapped corners is that we have a single pair of swapped corners but no pairs of swapped edges. What that technique just did is create for us a pair of swapped edges, and you can see the orange green should be over there, the blue red should be here. So those two edges are swapped. The edges on the top face are not swapped, they're just flipped. So by that technique we've created one pair of swapped corners, one pair of swapped edges. So now when we put the edges back, the corners will also be unswapped. All edges will be replaced, centre pieces will nearly pop out, and we can now go and fix the corners for the final time. So you'll remember that we started with two swapped corners. We've now got the 3 cycle of corners. So that technique of moving the lower half, taking out the edge, taking out the opposite edge, that is what will deal with that. So the last 3 corners, we've got that rolling down to here. If I hold it like this, I've got the blue colour which is going to land up there. And that tells me that I want the piece that's in the blue face, or the sticker that's in the blue face, which is orange, to be placed here before I start. So I simply turn it up. It's a nice simple setup move, and now I've got these 3 pieces that I can cycle home. With, it must be said, some difficulty and annoyance, and I'm kind of glad this has happened because it's vindicating my unboxing and review where I did say, yep, this puzzle is worth buying, but be prepared for a little bit of maintenance work. I have to say, unfortunately, it hasn't got heaps better. But you still can solve the puzzle. You can mix it up, you can get it out of cube shape, put it back, and as you can see, the 4x4x4 mix-up cube is now solved.